Hey, so since a few people asked, I'm going to be doing this breakdown of this Unspeakable thumbnail I did recently. So yeah, step one here is isolating everything. Just use the brush tool, and I isolated Unspeakable separately, and you'll see why later. And then here I just content awared all the logos, all the light leaks and stuff out. Content aware, now I'm doing stamp tool. Sometimes I duplicate the layer to use it elsewhere. It's just, this is probably the tedious and hardest bit of the whole thing, just getting rid of all the clutter. But it makes the final thing look a lot cleaner and less distracting as well. And you can start to see here why it's good to isolate everything individually at the start, because I'm applying a color grade to Unspeakable and it's just affecting him and nothing else. And that's good if you want to correct colors, match colors. If I was to do global adjustments here to color grade, it just wouldn't look natural because some parts would be way too light, some parts would be way too dark. And you probably notice now that the color grade has now disappeared, and that is because I'm working inside the smart object of the raft. So what that allows me to do is work on the touch up separately from the color grade. So I'm just focusing here on getting rid of the tape, the light leaks, everything that's just too distracting from the blocks. And I thought it'd be a lot easier, instead of clone stamping, content aware, blah blah blah, all the stuff that would take me hours to do, I would just import the textures and map them over the top, and there you go, all the imperfections are gone. And I could add shadows and stuff, make it more consistent, and it's just so much easier than correcting what I was given instead of just adding on top. And just like it was at the start, getting rid of all these imperfections is the most time consuming part, but I think it makes it very worth it at the end, just because all the little details come together, they compound, and it makes a big difference. And of course nobody's going to notice these little details once the thumbnail's done and published, but my job isn't to impress you, my job is just to make the best thumbnail possible, and if that means getting rid of masking tape, duct tape, whatever it is, then it's worth it. At this stage I was pretty happy with how the raft itself was looking, so the next step was getting to work on blending and piecing together the rest of the elements. And hopefully you saw there, but I just sketched roughly where I'd put the blocks, and now I'm putting them in with textures and roughly mapping them to the shape of a cube. Now the reason I didn't do this in Blender and make it topologically and mathematically accurate was because I kind of liked the idea of matching the rough, imperfect aesthetic of the original raft. And over to 3D, fun. So the client wanted to see what a roof would look like on the raft, like a Minecraft style roof. So I made it in 3D using the image as slightly transparent to try and match the perspective. And I kind of just used this as a rough base plate, imported it into Photoshop and started the corrections with the adjustment layers, because I'm kind of a noob when it comes to 3D. This is where I live basically. So I'm just adding the shadows in right now with different masks to make it easier to edit afterwards. I'm trying to blend it as much as possible with the colors and the lighting of the back planks, and here I'm adding shadows. But here's the final without the roof, because I didn't end up being the biggest fan of it. I did want to keep the process of me making it though, because I think it's realistic. Sometimes you try stuff and they don't work out, so I thought I'd keep it in. But that's the final. Thanks for watching. Peace.